Shalom. Shalom and welcome. This is man's final steps. Yes, my brothers and sisters, we have reached end times. We have entered into a season of which many of us have read about, spoken of, and in some cases probably failed to even realize these realities are coming to pass. This is man's final steps. It is a continuing series to those who would be among the ranks of the 144,000 in multitude mentioned in Revelations chapter 7th and 14th chapter. Today is January 10th, 2014. My name is Symmanayah, and this segment is entitled Ground Test. Are you ready? Ground test. Are you ready? Allow me to begin with some questions. Did the story of Noah involve something that happened on the ground? Do you believe Noah and his family experienced remorse for those who were killed? I believe they did. For in order to them to have found favor with the Most High Father, Yahuwah, they had to possess some type of love for people, some type of compassion. As we see in the story of Noah, decisions were made and the story is told throughout history, even to this day. Another question, did the story of Lot regarding Sodom and Gomorrah consist of something happening to the land, the ground? Are you familiar with a time when Moshe was challenged and the wrath of Yahuwah opened the earth and swallowed those who fought against Yahuwah's chosen and against Yahuwah's direction? This specific passage of scripture I will share with you in just one moment. As I read this passage, I want you to think about it and ask yourself again, did something happen with the ground? Be mindful of this segment's title, Ground Test. Are you ready? I believe it is important to read this entire passage because I strongly believe the days will come when we will witness something similar and in some instances even more severe. You see, these are our end times and the Almighty Father Yahuwah's word will be fulfilled. As a result, all obstacles will be removed and we will witness prophecy being fulfilled like never before imagined. As I read this passage, consider the previous questions I asked about Noah, Lot, and with regards to Moshe pertaining to the ground. I submit to you there is a need to prepare for the ground test. And I ask this question, are you ready? Have you become confident in your beliefs and position? Do you believe you will be on the right side of the ground when Almighty Father Yahuwah prove those whom he have brought to lead Yasharal? When proof emerged regarding obedience in a massive gathering, how would you fare in this ground test? Would you be on the right side? This is the time, my brothers and sisters, to prepare and get ready, for that test will occur with each day of our lives, and the ultimate test will one day come when we will find there is no return. With this said, let me now read that passage of scriptures. It is in Numbers 16th chapter. I'm going to read verses 1 all the way down to 35. I pray your patience. I invite your patience. Listen carefully. It reads as follows. And Korah, son of Yitzhar, son of Kehath, son of Lui, took both Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab, and On, son of Peleth, sons of Reuben. And they rose up before Moshe with some of the children of Yasharal, 250 leaders of the congregations, called ones of the meeting, men of name. Keep that number in mind, 250 leaders. They assembled against Moshe. Yes, it says against Moshe and against Aaron or Aharon. And they said to them, enough of you, for all the congregation is set apart, all of them, and Yahuwah is in their midst. Why then do you lift up yourselves above the assembly of Yahuwah? Here you see that this group attacked Moshe and Aaron or Aaron. They falsely described them as individuals trying to lift themselves up when they were only walking in obedience to the Most High Father. Let me continue on, verse 4. And when Moshe heard this, he fell on his face. And he spoke to Korah and all his company, saying, tomorrow morning Yahuwah shall make known who is his and who is his set apart, and bring him near to him, and let him bring near to him the one whom he chooses. Do this, take fire holders, Korah and all your companies, and put fire in them, and put incense in them before Yahuwah tomorrow. And it shall be that the one whom Yahuwah chooses is the set apart one. Enough of you, sons of Lui. And Moshe said to Korah, hear now, you sons of Lui. Is it little to you that the Elohim of Yasharal has separated you from the congregation of Yasharal to bring you near to himself, to perform the service at the dwelling place of Yahuwah, and stand before the congregation to serve him? And that he has brought you near to himself, and you and all your brothers, the sons of Lui, with you? Yet you seek the priesthood as well. Therefore you and all your company are set against Yahuwah and Aharon. What is he that you grumble against him? Verse 12. Again, I'm in Numbers 16th chapter. Verse 12. And Moshe sent to call to Dathan and Abiram, the sons of Eliab. But they said, we're not coming up. Is it little that you have brought us up out of the land flowing with milk and honey to kill us in the wilderness, that you would also seize total rule over us? Also, you have not brought us into a land flowing with milk and honey, nor given us inheritance of fields and vineyards. Would you bore out the eyes of these men? We are not coming up. And Moshe became very displeased and said to Yahuwah, do not respect their offering. I have not taken one donkey from them, nor have I done harm to any of them. Then Moshe said to Korah, tomorrow you and all your company shall be there before Yahuwah, and you and they in Aharon. 19th verse. Again, I'm in the 16th chapter of Numbers. And Korah assembled all the congregation against them at the door of the tent of meetings. Then the esteem of Yahuwah appeared to all the congregation. And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe and Aharon, saying, separate yourselves from the midst of this congregation, and let me consume them in a moment. But they fell on their faces and said, O all, Elohim of the spirits of all flesh, when one man sins, are you wroth with all of the congregation? And Yahuwah spoke to Moshe, saying, speak to the congregation, saying, move away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. So Moshe rose up, and he went to Dathan and Abiram, and the elders of Yasharal followed him. And he spoke to the congregation, saying, please turn away from the tents of these wrong men. Do not touch whatever belongs to them, lest you should be consumed in all their sins. Then they moved away from around the tents of Korah, Dathan, and Abiram. And Dathan and Abiram came out and stood at the door of their tents with their wives, their sons, and little children. And Moshe said, by this you know that Yahuwah has sent me to do all these works, that they are not from my own heart. If these die as all men do, or if they are visited as all men are visited, then Yahuwah has not sent me. But if Yahuwah creates what is unheard of, and the earth opens its mouth and swallows them up with all that belongs to them, and they go down alive into the grave, then you shall know that these men have scorned Yahuwah. And it came to be, as he ended speaking all these words, that the ground under them split apart. Yes, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them up with their households and all their men with Korah, with all their goods. So they, all those with them, went down alive into the grave, And the earth closed over them, and they perished from the midst of the assembly. And all Yasharal who was around about them fled at their cry, for they said, lest the earth swallow us up. And the fire came out from Yahuwah and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. Remember I mentioned the 250 leaders? These were misguided leaders. I mentioned them earlier in verse 2 of the 16th chapter. And when you read the 35th verse, it says, fire came out from Yahuwah and consumed the 250 men who were offering incense. My brothers and sisters, in the midst of end time prophecy fulfillment, as famine, drought, pestilence, and disease increase, where we place our feet will be determined and will result in our true position as we face the ground test. Again, I ask, are you ready? I'm not trying to scare anyone. I'm merely stating the realities of things that must be done in order to remove obstacles of which would fight against scripture fulfillment. This includes the self-appointed and misleading teachers. This includes the delusionals, those who are dull of hearing the voice of the Spirit of Yahushua. This includes those who bear false witness of righteous actions. Any obstacles will be removed. Are you ready to be assured that you're on the right side of the ground? There will be those who will seek refuge in text alone. There will be those who would dismiss my words. There will be those who are void of discernment, who will be overtaken with unbelief. But I submit to you, my brothers and sisters, the 144,000 multitude will be among the ranks of the obedient and will become all too familiar with the realities of what will and must be done in these coming days. There are measures you can take to minimize any doubt. Yes, these measures require asking a lot of questions while having a mind, body, and soul to be perfected in worship and obedience to the Almighty Father Yahuwah through His set-apart Spirit sent in Yahushua's name. Yes, there are measures that you can take to minimize uncertainty. I assure you, my brothers and sisters, among the obedient will be those who are able to discern with uncertainty. Those who will prove to be obedient and participate in the fulfillment of Scripture, as it is mentioned regarding 144,000 and multitude, will prove to be successful in living through the ground tests. Ground tests are coming, and remember, there will be no second chances, and rewind buttons will be of non-existence. The days of being slothful, lazy, and unperceptive to the living guidance of the Spirit of Yahushua will soon come to an end. Awake, my family. There is and will be continued refining and perfecting in our walk with the Spirit of Yahushua. Remember, it is a terrible thing to tempt the Almighty One Yahuwah. I cannot stress enough how important it is for us to begin identifying with the living Spirit of Yahushua, as well as with those whom He has chosen as leaders and or individuals whom He chooses to speak. I ask the question again. Are you ready? Are you ready for the ground test? Are you ready to make decisions of which could possibly affect your remaining breath, your remaining days, your life? Soon we will witness individuals who will make the wrong decisions and they will perish physically. Soon we will meet and witness those who made the right decision, as the multitude, 144,000, are gathered. Let me repeat again what I just said. There are measures you can take to minimize any doubt. These measures require asking many questions, a lot of questions, while having a mind, body, and soul to perfect worship and obedience to the Almighty Father, Yahuwah, through a set-apart Spirit sent in Yahushua's name. Prepare, my brothers and sisters, prepare to choose. And I suggest that each of us choose wisely, for there may not be another chance in the future. The Spirit of Yahushua speaks out. Who is able to discern and understand? Let him who has an ear hear what is true. Let him who has an ear respond with actions, or if indeed commanded so, to be still. Until next time, my brothers and sisters, remember the time is coming and now at hand where we will face many ground tests. Yes, ground tests. A test whereas we will witness how or whatever decisions we make or take or direct our footsteps, it is a ground test. We will learn when to come away and when to draw to. We will learn when to reject and when to embrace. Believe it or not, we face challenges every day that represent a ground test, but the ultimate ground test will end with you either in the right place of those that are being gathered to a safe place, or either left behind. Pray, my brothers and sisters. Pray without ceasing. This includes speaking and making every effort to listen to what the Spirit of Yahushua is saying. Seek to discern whom he is speaking through. Seek to discern if he indeed is speaking to you directly in spirit. Until next time, my brothers, my family, prepare for the ultimate ground test. Will you be on the right side of those who are being led by the Spirit of Yahushua? Or will you be overtaken in unbelief and rebellion? Choose your footsteps each day wisely, my brothers. Until next time, my brothers, my sisters, my family, stay tuned as this series, Man's Final Steps, continues as I believe I am guided by the Spirit of Yahushua. Until next time, shalom, shalom, shalom.